Happy Vlogmas, and today we're talking about the top 10 books I've read according to GoodReads. Hello lovely book dragons, and welcome back to another video, or welcome if you're new. My name is Joana, and I love to talk about books on this channel. Today I'm doing a video that I've seen on quite a few channels, mainly on my friend Abby Salder's channel. I will leave her video linked down below because I watched her video and I thought, I want to do this. I'm saving it for Vlogmas. I want to do this. This sounds fun. And this is the top 10 books I've read according to GoodReads. Now, I went already on my GoodReads. I created a list and I gave myself a few parameters to film this video. So I only have one book per series by an author because otherwise you could have a risk of only having Sanderson on this list, which I didn't want. I only counted novels, not graphic novels, not novellas, not short stories, and I only picked books that had more than 10k ratings on GoodReads. So, without further ado, let's talk about them. So I'm going to go from number 10 to number 1. At the number 10 spot, which is actually tied with the number 9 spot, but at the number 10 spot we have The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. I am not surprised. I read this book years ago. I read it when I was pretty new to the adult fantasy genre, and that was a mistake because it took me forever to read. I didn't understand half of what I should have understood, and I have always wanted to reread that book because I gave it 5 stars back then because I knew it was genius. I knew it was amazing, even if I didn't understand everything. And then I thought, you know what, I'll just reread it when the third one comes out, and that is Joke's on Us because it isn't out, and will it ever come out? Don't know. But I do agree that this book is amazing. It has a 4.51 rating on GoodReads. I gave it 5 stars. I do think it's amazing. And this makes me so happy because on the number 9 spot, also with 4.51 rating, is The Empire of Gold by S.A. Chakraborty. Now, this is one of my favorite series of all time. I love this trilogy, and I do love The Empire of Gold. I am so happy to see the third book as highly, like, this proves to you that the series only gets better as you go on. And I agree with that statement. The series does get better. I think I prefer The Kingdom of Copper just because of how politically heavy it is. But yeah, I mean, Empire of Gold was amazing. It was an amazing conclusion to an amazing trilogy. I'm so happy to see S.A. Chakraborty in the top 10 books I've read according to GoodReads. This just makes me so happy because I feel like, unlike Patrick Rothfuss and other authors on this list, she is so underrated still, or underhyped, let's say, because clearly not underrated, but underhyped, and I want more people to read the David Bott trilogy. So this is your friendly reminder to go pick up the David Bott trilogy. At the number 8 spot, we have a French book, and I did keep it in just because it is translated, and that is Les Disparus du Clair de Lune by Christelle Dabos. I don't remember what it is translated as, but here's the cover in English and in French. It has a 4.52 rating, and this book is the second book in her series, in her quartet, the first one being In Winter's Promise, the translation. And I agree, I absolutely love this book. I gave it 5 stars. I think it was definitely better than the first one. I still have to finish the series, which, yeah, let's not talk about that, but I do love the second book, Les Disparus du Clair de Lune. I think it elevated everything that happened in the first book that I already loved and gave 5 stars to, but the second book was just really, really great. And I think that this is a series that it is a YA and it is translated, but I think that if you like the Books of Babel and if you're looking for something kind of in that vein, you might enjoy this one, so you should pick it up if it interests you. At the number 7 spot, we have ties again, but I'm gonna just go with this one. With 4.53 rating, we have Queen of Shadows by Sarah J. Maas, and I love this book as well. I also gave it 5 stars. I think Queen of Shadows is the one where the series really takes off for me. I think Heir of Fire is the one where you start seeing the switches in. This is a YA series where one book is basically one plot, even though they're kind of tied together. In Heir of Fire, things start changing, and in Queen of Shadows, which is the 4th book in the Throne of Glass series, things just kind of, like, the world is blown wide open, everything starts tying together, and that book is just so good. I love Queen of Shadows, so I definitely agree with this rating. At the number 6 spot, with also 4.53 rating, we have A Storm of Swords by George R. R. Martin, which is the 3rd book in his A Song of Ice and Fire series, and my favorite in the series, 5 stars, one of the best books I've ever read, one of my favorite books in general, not just in this series, but overall. I love A Storm of Swords. I think it's just phenomenal. I think that once I reread the series a few times, I probably will just end up rereading A Storm of Swords a bunch of time because of how awesome that book is. I love it. I'm so happy it's so high up because it really deserves it. I think that this book just has so many great character and plot moments, and it's just amazing. So good job, George R. R. Martin. Storm of Swords is definitely the best book, in my opinion, in that whole series. In the number 5 spot, which is insane to me, is Clockwork Princess by Cassandra Clare with 4.54 rating. I mean, I know Cassandra Clare is popular, but 4.54 Number 5 spot. This is insane. I did love A Clockwork Princess, and when I read it, I gave it 5 stars. I remember finishing it. I remember reading that epilogue in bed and crying. That I remember. And this is my favorite series by her. This is the last book in her Infernal Devices. I still have to read a lot by her. I have a lot of catching up to do with her books, to be honest, but I do love this trilogy specifically. This is one that I could see myself rereading and still enjoying. So yeah, I was just surprised that it was this high up, but I mean, I do love it. I do think it's a great trilogy, and I think it's a great ending to this trilogy. So yeah, I think it is deserved. I mean, probably not that high, but still, I mean, good for you, Cassandra Clare. Good for you. In the number 4 spot with also 4.54. So this has the same rating. See, this is what I mean with the Cassandra Clare one. This book has the same rating as Cassandra Clare's book. And this is Return of the King by J.R.R. Tolkien. Like, how? How is it possible that these two books have the same amount of rating? But Return of the King is definitely amazing. I gave it 5 stars. I loved it, of course. I mean, it's Return of the King, guys. I still don't know if I like The Two Towers better or Return of the King. I think maybe Return of the King. I don't know. But I do love it. I gave it 5 stars. I'm not surprised it's here. I was surprised it wasn't higher than this, but maybe a lot of people didn't make it to the last one, because I know a lot of people kind of get bored and or think that the first one is too difficult. They don't want to read all these songs and these poems, so maybe they kind of fall off. But Return of the King in the 4th spot. I'm very happy. I gave every single one of these books 5 stars. That is on my best books that I've read according to GoodReads. So I agree with my list. Cracking the number 3. I wonder, like, can you please go into the comments and then let me know what you think the top 3 is gonna be on my list. I'll give you a moment, pause, go do it. You're back? You're back. Okay. Number 3, I was so surprised. 4.59 rating. Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo. Wow. I mean, I knew Six of Crows was super popular, but 4.59, number 3. I was so surprised when I saw this. I was like, what? I even thought Six of Crows would get a better rating. But yeah, Crooked Kingdom, the sequel to Six of Crows. The, as of right now, conclusion to that duology, but I think she's writing a 3rd one. I mean, I really like the series. I'm not as much of a fan as a lot of other people are. I gave it 5 stars. I really love these books, but I feel like they're books that I would have to reread, because as much as I like them a lot, and I really do, I stand by the 5 stars I gave these books, I'm not a diehard fan as other people are. Let's just say that like that. But I mean, I did love them. I love the characters in the series. So it's deserved. Of course, sure, it's deserved. Like, I mean, I gave them 5 stars. I love these books, but I was just super surprised to see that this was the number 3. Number 3, guys. Number 3. Like, there is no Abercrombie on this list. But I'm not surprised. People haven't read his books. Like, not a lot of people have read it, compared to Leigh Bardugo or Cassandra Clare. So number 2 with the same rating as Crooked Kingdom. The same rating is 4.59, as a reminder, is A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas. I am not surprised. I'm not at all surprised to see this one as high up. 4.59 rating. A Court of Mist and Fury, which I, of course, gave 5 stars. I love that book. It is one of my favorite Sarah J. Maas books. It is one of my favorite books. Like, I can reread A Court of Mist and Fury and just, like, it's just comfort food at this point for the soul. You know, it's for the soul. I love those books. I know Sarah J. Maas, very controversial. Oh, I do have 2 books by her on this list, but it's not from the same series. So, yeah. But I should have paid attention. Maybe I should have kicked Queen of Shadows out and put another one. But yeah, I do have 2 of her books. I didn't even realize I just came across now that, yeah, maybe I should have checked. Well, but this is the list that we have today. So, yes, A Court of Mist and Fury. Court of Mist and Fury, 4.59. And then in the number 1 spot, drum rolls, or in our case, because it's the season, Jingle Bells, Words of Radiance by Brandon Sanderson, of course. 4.73, a 4.73 rating for Words of Radiance. If I hadn't done my parameters of 1 book per series, we would have had the top 5 be all of the Stormlight books. They were all in the top 5. So I kept the highest one, which was Words of Radiance, 4.73. I love Words of Radiance. I need to reread the series, which I will be doing in 2022 and 2023 because of the Customer Unbounded reading schedule. So this reread will happen, but I know that when I finished Rhythm of War, I said it was my favorite, but I don't think so. I think Words of Radiance is still my favorite book in the series. Maybe it's Way of Kings. I don't know. I think it's Words of Radiance. I don't know. See, I don't know, but I love Words of Radiance. It is definitely one of my all-time favorite books. I love it so much. I don't know, I love these characters. I love this world. I love everything about Brandon Sanderson, as you know. So I'm not surprised to see this one here. It's also one of my top books of all time. I love Words of Radiance, so I'm very happy to see it this high up. So there you go, guys. Those are the top 10 books I have read according to GoodReads. What are your top 10 books according to GoodReads that are the best books you've read? And are any of them the same as mine? Probably a lot of you have read Words of Radiance, so probably Words of Radiance is going to be on a lot of people's top books. But yeah, that is going to be it from me today. Let me know that in the comments down below. Or if you just want to let me know that you're here, leave the Christmas tree emoji. And I will see you in 2 days for my next Vlogmas video. And until next time, stay safe, happy holidays, and happy reading.